Hi, and welcome along to AFTV News Daily. We are back with more news dailies. We, of course, are in lockdown at the moment. And because we're in lockdown, we thought what we do is a couple of times a day, we'll sort of come to you guys live, give you a chance to have your say on all things Arsenal, all things football, as a matter of fact. I'm in a hot seat tonight, and I've got a very special guest. Well, guest. I don't know about special, but guest joining me today, Mr. DT. Bloody hell, you look cheerful, mate.
What do you want me to be cheerful about, man? Dear God, I'm still not over that result.
Yesterday.
No, I'm not getting over it. Build me a bridge and I still won't get over it.
Get over it, bro.
No, I can't get over it. Do you know what? This is one of them, right? It's the manner in the way that we lost. You know what I mean? I've said to you so many times before, I can take defeats if we put something in. You know, you look at some of the defeats that we've had this season, I've accepted them. And I've been all right about them. And I'm like, it's part of the process. It's all right. It's part of the bump in the road. And yes, this is part of the process. And yes, this is a bump in the road. But it doesn't mean that you should just get on with it, because it really affected me, that result, because of the way that we fell apart. It just gave me so many flashbacks of old memories. That was the big issue for me, Robbie. Like 2-0, that game could have easily been about 5 or 6. And I've not seen us like that. Mikel Arteta himself said after the game that he's not seen us like that. So, you know, it maybe it's just nightmares, flashbacks. You know what I mean? too many of them old wounds just resurfacing, and it's a tough one to take, man. And it just slaps you in the face after last week and everything else. And you know what I mean? I've got to deal with Man United fans trying to banter me, and I was like, come on, man.
Do you know what, right? I asked the question in this video. Do you trust the process? We hear a lot of talk about trusting the process. And I've got to say that since yesterday, some of the comments, we did a show this morning, some of the comments on that, some of the comments I've heard from people, doesn't really look like the process is being trusted. So I wanted to find out from you guys out there today, do you still trust the process? I mean, let me ask you first. Do you trust the process?
Of course I do. Why wouldn't I trust the process? Because we've had a bump in the road. You know, I'm not going to... Look, at the end of the day, yeah, you've got to look at the reality of things, all right? There's going to be bad results. There's going to be moments where you sit there and say, that's not great. And what I like to do is compare. All right. And there was something that me and you were actually speaking about after the game. And I don't think that either of us have actually spoken about this. But one example is Chelsea when, what's the former manager's name at Chelsea, man? Conte. When he came in at Chelsea. And I remember he came to the Emirates and we battered Chelsea. And do you remember that? Then 3 quick goals, and we completely and utterly destroyed Chelsea. And then after that game, that was like a massive wake-up call for Conte. And he completely changed the formation, the shape, the whole style and identity of Chelsea. And they went on an unbelievable run and ended up winning the league. Now, I'm not saying we're going to win the league. But what I'm saying is that you're going to have bumps and you're going to have results where if you're knee-jerk reactionary, you're going to end up in a never-ending cycle. You ask any Chelsea fan after we slapped them at the Emirates that day, they would have felt like the whole world come crashing down. But you would have then said to them 6-7 months later how they felt. They'd have been on top of the world. They'd just won the Premier League. And the last time that our goal conversion was in comparison to what it is now. And we know that we're not scoring enough goals and everything. But I'm seeing a lot of people saying, We play unbelievable football under Arsene Wenger. This would never happen. Blah, 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 blah. Well, maybe you should go and check out your statistics a little bit better, because this happened to us in '98. All right, under Arsene Wenger. We started the season very, very slowly that year, just as the way we are now. And then something clicked, something happened, and we were able to go on, and the rest is history, so to speak. So what I now want to see is Mikel Arteta learn from his mistakes, realize what he's doing wrong himself, realize what's not working, realize what he needs to do. He's got a 2-week window to do it now. I actually think the international break has come at a good time for us, because with games every 2-3 days, you don't really get an opportunity to be able to take a real hard look at what's going on and make wholesale changes. But now he's got a good 2-week window to really look at what's gone wrong. And he's got to look at himself, and he's also got to look at the players, and he's got to see the reaction of the players and see who responds to what's just happened. Because I felt there was a sense of cockiness in our players on the pitch. There was a sense of arrogance in our players. I think we believed the hype so much from the performance against Manchester United. We kind of went out on the pitch with a mindset that it was going to be easy against Aston Villa. And from the first minute, they caught us cold, and they absolutely buried us. They deserved their victory. They were by far the better team. Every player, to a man, was better than us on the pitch. And I can't say anything other than fair play to Aston Villa, because they were exceptional. And, you know, Jack Grealish is everything that we need in a player, in an attacking player, in terms of his aggression, his directness, and everything else that he offers as a footballer. Ollie Watkins, everything that went up to him stuck like glue. He was coming short, he was going long, he was spinning off, he was cutting back. His whole game was exceptional. In my preview to the game, I said about Ollie Watkins and how dangerous he was going to be. And I had people say, like, oh, yeah, but he's just come from the Championship. He ain't all... Hey, really? The same guy scored a hat-trick against Liverpool as well. You know, and I saw a lot of him at Brentford, and when he was converted from a winger to a striker. And he's unbelievable. And he's an Arsenal boy as well. He's an Arsenal fan. His family are all Arsenal fans. That just rubs even more insult into it. But we need these 2 weeks now to really reevaluate. And what I'm trying to say about everything that we need to do, it's only going to work if Mikel Arteta actually uses these 2 weeks to change things, to clearly say, that's not working, that's worked. And we now need to formulate a plan going forward, especially at home, because we are in awful, awful form at home. And that's unlike us, Bobby. That's unlike us. We've normally got an exceptional home form and awful away.
Okay, this guy here says, Lloyd says, I trust the process 100%. I'll back my team through thick and thin, but please bench Laka and Holding for Saliba and Martinelli when he's fit, and stop bringing on Nketiah and use Balogun. There was this other guy here who said, Arteta is our man. Liverpool got smashed 7-2 by Villa, as everyone forgotten. Yeah, I think when you're coming from the standing of champions, you're allowed one of those. Yeah. The thing about it, what is the process? What's the process at the moment? Because
the process, I think it's pretty obvious what the process is, Robbie. And sorry to cut you off, but I mean, like, it's so obvious. It's get back into the Champions League. That is the process. This season is get back into the Champions League. And stable.
This guy says there is no process. Arteta isn't utilising the players we have. Aubameyang out of position. Free Ozil. Play Pepe and Saliba. Arteta out, he says. Transfers won't help. Arteta is out of his depth. No attack. I mean, those are strong words. So he's obviously not trusting the process.
Listen, everyone's entitled to their opinion. He's actually paid for that opinion, so more for him. I just listen. What I'm trying. you know what? There's certain things I would say if I was on my own channel, but I'm trying to be respectful. But listen, Robbie, man, you can't be sitting there giving it all this Arteta out and all this and that already.
That's ridiculous.
Look, at the end of the day, right? He's done so much in such a short space of time, and to his own detriment, he sorted the defense out remarkably well. Despite that Aston Villa result, our defense has been good. He sorted out a major issue. And when I say to the detriment, is that it's now stopped our attacking side of things. So it's about getting the right balance. And Pep Guardiola, do you remember his first season at Manchester City when he came in and how he struggled? I think there was a game that Manchester City played against Everton, and I think they conceded 4 in that game against Everton in Pep Guardiola's first season. I remember Pep Guardiola lost to us in the semi-finals of the Cup in his first season. Yeah, so he never had it all plain sailing. He wasn't, shouting from the rooftops immediately. He had to take a year to learn what was right and what was wrong. And yes, he did have the luxury of having money to throw at certain areas. But I've seen enough from Mikel Arteta in the 6 months, let's take COVID out of it, 5-6 months of actual football to suggest that there are things changing, but we need to change a hell of a lot.
Okay.
And yeah, he's going to make mistakes. Every manager makes mistakes, Robbie. Jurgen Klopp makes mistakes. Pep Guardiola makes mistakes. Arsene Wenger made mistakes. Sir Alex Ferguson made mistakes. It happens. Remember Sir Alex Ferguson? Can I just say,
it costs you your job.
Hey, listen, do you remember Sir Alex Ferguson was an FA Cup tie away from getting sacked at Man United?
True. Let's get into a couple of comments. There's so many coming in. Thank you very much. Viniak here says, I enjoyed watching Arsenal. The last time I enjoyed watching Arsenal was 14-16 with Ozil and Sanchez at their peak. Is trusting the process supposed to mean that you accept boring football? Then no. That can be part of the process. You know what I mean? Like DT said, he's trying to fix the defense first. And sometimes when you fix the defense first, it can be boring because you're saying, right, I'm going to make the team hard to beat. That's obviously what he's trying to be, although it didn't look that way yesterday. But that's obviously what he's been trying to do, make the team hard to beat. And when you make the team hard to beat, you can be to the detriment of we've seen it, to the attacking. Javier here says, cheers from Canada. Arteta needs to change formation to 4-4-2 or 4-3-3 with Saka, Aubameyang, Pepe. Arteta definitely is the guy. DT said it. There will be sour moments.
You know what, Robbie, quickly, that last question before that one, where he was saying about he doesn't want to watch boring football. Did he not celebrate the cup final win then? Did he not enjoy that? Was that not part of the process that you liked, or is it just a process that suits your personal agenda? You've got to take the rough with the smooth. Yeah, I'm so annoyed about yesterday's game. I'm fuming, but it doesn't mean that I can't see the bigger picture and that we've got to take these rough rides. Don't mean I have to accept it. Doesn't mean I like it, but we've got to understand that this is part of the journey. Be a part of it.
Okay, Maxwell says, we're in desperate need of goals from midfield. The midfield is dead. We're not scoring enough goals from the middle of the park. We're too negative in our approach to games. Matthew Wilshaw with a super chat. He says, when I fell in love with Arsenal, one of my favourite players was Santi Cazorla. I honestly think we still need that advanced playmaker. Big up DT. He wasn't really an advanced playmaker, was he? He was a playmaker from deep, really.
Yeah. We had a lot of creativity then, though. We had Mesut Ozil in his peak. We had Alexis Sanchez in his peak. And we're lacking that little something now. I just feel that Mikel Arteta needs to, kind of let the handbrake off a little bit now. And I think that he also realizes that things need to change, because if you look at some of his press conferences in the last couple of weeks, he's saying that he knows we now need to start scoring goals. He knows that if we want to get back into the Champions League, you're not going to be able to do that and sustain.
Why don't you do something about it then? You know what I mean? Because I'm sorry, I mean, let me just read this super chat quickly. Lloyd says, how can no one trust the process? Arteta's put 2 pieces of silver in the cabinet. Anyone forgotten? He hasn't had a job for 12 months. What you're saying there just a minute ago, if he's saying that he knows we need to score more goals, why is he setting up so defensively at home? That doesn't show me. Yesterday did not show me that he wants to score goals. Why was Willock not in the squad? He scored. He's played a few times this season. I know it's the Europa League, but he scored goals from midfield. He's not even getting a sniff.
You know what I think a big problem is? Do you know what I think a big problem is, Robbie? I think it's very evident now that there's quite a few players in that team that Mikel Arteta don't trust. He doesn't want to do a certain formation because he feels that we're going to get absolutely pulled apart, because he don't trust the players to be able to implement the ideas that he wants. And I feel that that's holding him back, because there's that, it's a double-edged sword, because he's kind of like, all right, we've got us into a position where we're defending well now, but we need to start attacking. But if we open up and be a bit more expansive, then all the old frailties are going to come back again, because they were the issues that were glaringly there before. You know, there's certain issues about Arteta that I have a problem with, that I would like to see changed is, for example, surely William Saliba is not as bad as what we're seeing at the moment. And some of the performances that we're seeing, surely he's not that bad. Give him an opportunity. He's in the Premier League squad, so he can play in the Premier League.
I want to see him play.
He can't be as bad. He can't be as bad as what we've seen at the moment. Surely not. He can't be. Unless something unbelievable is going on in training that we're not privy to, he can't be as that bad. You know, Willian, if you're going to play Willian, right, and I'm not going to completely just dismiss Willian. If you're going to play him in a 10. Play him in that middle area where he can actually be a bit more effective and do something. Because the ironic thing is that, what game was it when we were playing at home the other week and Pepe came on and we changed the game around? Was it Sheffield United at home? And it was very flat, very boring. And then Arteta made a substitution. He brought Pepe on and he tweaked it around. And Pepe went out wide. Willian come more centrally with Saka out on the left-hand side, and Over went straight through the middle. And do you remember, instantaneously, we changed. We looked fluid. We started to have a bit more confidence. Willian was getting on the ball in little areas and pockets. I think that was the game when you had that bet with Troops over Willian doing something and buying dinner or something. And it was like he'd gone from 60 minutes of doing nothing to all of a sudden going centrally and being more involved. So if you're going to play Willian, play him central. Don't play him out wide, all right? Because the guy can't cross a road right now. And it's boring. And I don't like it in any way, shape or form. Play Pepe out there. Play Saka on one side. And play Aubameyang through the middle.
Well, this guy here, Tim, says our youngsters have regressed under Arteta. Pepe has regressed. Aubameyang has regressed because he doesn't play in his right position, which is through the middle. Let's not forget, Aubameyang did score a load of goals from playing out in that wide position, you know, over the last couple of seasons. But at the moment, I mean, yesterday's game, he didn't have a shot on goal in the whole game. I mean, how can you have a striker, you know?
The guy was out wide creating chances for Lacazette and Willian. Yeah, Aubameyang would have scored Lacazette's opportunity. But he's out wide trying to create. This is a guy that outscored Robert Lewandowski in the Bundesliga playing centrally. We've got too many players who we're not playing to their strengths. That's our big issue. Pepe's one of them. Aubameyang's another one. Too many players. We're not playing to strengths. It's like square pegs, round holes. And hopefully that result against Villa, in a few weeks' time, we'll turn around and go, you know what? That was a blessing. I'm glad that happened to us.
It could be. Sometimes you get them results and, you know, you say to yourself, you know what? We needed that. We needed. I get the feeling that result could be one of those where Because I'm with you. I felt yesterday that the team came out there and they were like, yeah, we're the big man, bad man now. We went last week to Old Trafford. We got that win. It's almost like, not exactly mission accomplished, but it's almost like they thought now, we've arrived now. We're the Arsenal. No, in this Premier League, this season in particular, you're going to have to fight for every game. There is no home advantage, right? So you've got to fight for every game, and we got absolutely turned over. Shane Valentine here says, Mikel's bias for Willian and Bellerin is worrying. I feel like because he signed Willian on such big wages, he feels he has to prove he's good, and it's hindering Pepe's form. Look how much money we paid for Pepe, though. You know, it gets me really, really, you know. This guy here says Salah and Mane are wingers who finish attacks in the box. We're using Aubameyang as if he's Eden Hazard. Aubameyang has to finish runs in the box, not be a creative player on the wing. I agree with him. I agree with him.
Yeah.
You know?
He was playing as like a deep lying winger at points in the Aston Villa game, and I was sitting there like, what is going on? Why? There was an image, if you've seen it online, of us 2-0 down, and we had 8 men outside of the box in defensive line. 8. What were we playing? An 8-0-1. 2. Like, come on, man. It's just...
Skullfuggery says, DT, can you give him a shout out? Play the super chat.
Is that Ty?
It's got Ty in it. So.
Shout out just for that picture alone, man. You know what I mean?
Oh, I'm getting a lot of stick about this Ziyech thing. And you know what the thing is? Remember, I did not say he was better.
Can I just say one thing? Please, can I just say one thing while we're on that subject here? Because I've been getting a lot of messages as well, as though I'm part of that conversation. Listen, let me make this very clear, yeah? Me and Robbie were doing a podcast together. Just because I was present don't mean I had any say in what came out of his mouth. That was his thoughts, his opinion. So if you want to send him abuse, off you go.
I'm going to take out the video because I did not say he was better. I said that at this moment, we don't know who's better because that was when the season was starting. I was saying that Willian is Premier League ready, but I've got to say Willian has been really disappointing and Ziyech has been excellent. Simple as that. Amre says, guys, let's calm down. We're 6 points behind the top with 30 games left. We shouldn't be panicking. We don't need to win every game to reach the top 4. What do you reckon to that?
That's a good point, though. At the end of the day, we're still only 6 points. That's how mad this season is.
Yeah.
We've got 4 games and we're only 6 points off top.
You know what the thing is, right? The thing is, I've seen us in other seasons where we haven't really lost many games, but we've drawn loads. So we're still in exactly the same position. Yeah. Because you only get 1 point for a draw. You know what I mean? You can draw 3 games, win 1 game, you're better off. Or it's the same. Vicky189 says, DT, I agree. I enjoyed the cup wins and I understand this in knockouts. Wenger was winning cups too. My concern is football at home against Villa. The football yesterday was terrible. Charlie Fellow says, our performance yesterday against Villa was as bad as DT's socks.
Nothing wrong with my socks, man. Absolutely nothing wrong with my socks, you know.
I love that yesterday with the socks, man. I'll tell you, that stream was, you know what? Maybe that might have made things a little bit better for me just watching the stream with guys like you because you give me so many jokes. But
mate, it's trending number 2 in the world.
It was trending number 1 in the world.
Yeah, my interview after the game's number 1 now.
Yeah.
And the live stream's number 2.
Oh my God, man. Javier again, he says Arsenal should play 4-3-1-2. Team are not connected right. Now it gets too long. Willock deserves a chance. Agreed. In the Premier League, by the way, I'm Chilean, but always a gunner. Big up Javier from Chile. Enough respect due to you, mate. And then there's another one. Someone asked Robbie. I already said at the moment, Ziyech is much better. Ziyech is playing brilliantly. These Chelsea fans, they don't forget, you know. They don't remember when I said we were going to beat them in the cup final, and they're all cussing me for that as well. But Jack Doyle said, Robbie, you literally said, disregarding age, Willian is a better player than Ziyech. We'd be better off with Willian. You're a poet, DT. Oh, my God. But Willian has been very poor, hasn't he? Very poor. Josh, what about this one? Josh says, too tactical. Need to let some players have freedom. Otherwise, it's too predictable. Let Pepe come inside. Let Saka do his thing. Let the midfielders make runs into the box. It makes it so much harder. It's true.
Yeah.
Who in our midfield makes runs into the box? No one.
No one.
Who's taking on play? Who in our team's doing what I saw Grealish and Ross Barkley doing yesterday, which is taking on players? That's why sometimes the collector used to say he used to like the fact that Iwobi was there. Iwobi takes people on. Who's taking in it? Only Saka is the only player in our team that I'll say pick up the ball and go past 2-3 people. Sometimes Pepe, sometimes. We've got to sort this out. And
I agree with that. The problem with Iwobi is that he would take 2 players on and then lose the ball. So let's not talk about him because I think we got an absolute bargain in getting rid of him for nearly £40 million. But we don't have the players right now that I wouldn't say we don't have the players. We do have the players, but we're not utilizing those strengths at the moment. That's the issue. We're not utilizing those strengths. There seems to be no free reign, no real kind of like, again, we're playing with a handbrake on. And they're so rigidly stuck.
Whose fault is that? Whose fault is that we're playing with handbrake?
It'd be Mikel, because he obviously wants us to set up with a solid base. And I genuinely believe that he's so petrified of us letting off the handbrake and us falling apart. And all them months of hard work getting the defense into position is just going to fall apart. And, it's very evident that there's players there that he don't trust. It's very evident that there's players in that squad that we didn't want, and we've still got to just make do with them.
Okay, Brandon says Arteta has 2 weeks to change our system or face the sack. Like, geez, face the sack by Christmas. Aubameyang's one of the best strikers in world football, and he barely gets a sniff. 2 shots on target versus Villa at home is embarrassing. Ian Westcroft says Arsenal are absolutely no fun anymore. Even the scrape wins are draining. We lack aggression, spark, and life. Playing spreadsheet football, he says. I like spreadsheet football. I like that one. Andy M says, have Arsenal really played good, except for the first game against Fulham? Everyone talks about the Man United game. Let's be honest, Man United were terrible. We weren't much better. No, we made them look terrible. That was our best performance of the season. But I just think that Mikel Arteta, DT, I think it's too easy just to start talking about players not being good enough. And so, yes, of course, there's players they're not good enough. But I felt that Arteta yesterday just thought to himself, yeah, man, we went to United, dealt with it, playing exactly the same team. He didn't put no thought into that game yesterday. Because everybody knows how Villa have been playing. Villa have been playing like that all season.
Yeah,
they've been having
I know that, but
the other thing is, why are we starting these games so slowly? I mean, Dimitri says watching this team is like watching paint dry. Do you guys have confidence that Arteta is up to the job and knows what he's doing? DT?
Yeah, I've got full confidence in him. That ain't going to change unless I see something drastically going wrong. Then I've got full confidence. The man's been here for 6 months. Effectively 6 months. He's won us a trophy already. He sorted out what was a dreadful defense. He's working on scraps, but now he needs to open himself up a little bit, express himself, and really show what he can set up with the team, because it's just not working in an attacking sense right now.
Yeah, Coffee says I have something to say, and I can't get a chance to get my voice opinion on AFTV. You just have. Please give me a chance, Robbie. I have something to say. What we're going to try and do in some of the other shows that we do is we're going to try and get some of you guys on, like we did last time over the lockdown. We try and get some of you guys on. So bear with us on that. Also, I wanted to tell you guys that we've got a new app that has just come out. It's called AFTV VIP. If I can show you here, I don't know if you can see. That's the app there. Hold on, let me take this off. That's the app there, right? And one of the questions we're asking on it is this: do you trust in the process? Do you trust in Arteta? I have to say 80% now are saying yes. All right, so the 80% say yes. This is the AFTV Mobi app. All right, so you can download that, get the AFTV Mobi app. I'm going to put a link in the description so that you can get more details of it. It's a VIP app, so you get like written stories and a lot of things that you can't get on our normal YouTube channel. It's up to you if you want it.
Excuse me.
Yeah, what do you want?
You got any pictures of me in there?
No. Steve Lucas says we need to bring on youngsters to show the top earners they're not safe. I'd love to see Nelson instead of Willian on the pitch and Martinelli. I'll tell you what, there's a lot of people can't wait for Martinelli to come back. This guy says El Neni is nothing without Partey. We saw it yesterday. That was true. He said we saw it yesterday. As soon as Partey went off, El Neni was getting bullied. Bellerin should have been sold to PSG for a free earlier. Sold for a free. You can't get sold for a free, right? He said we needed Grealish and Zaha in place of Willian. I remember when I used to talk about getting Zaha, everyone was cussing me about that one as well. Would have been perfect for what we're trying to do, but we ain't got Zaha. We got good enough players to be doing better, you know. Track says Partey and El Neni should prevent Arsenal from being fragile in the counter-attack. It's time to play a more progressive style, but Arteta is a coward. Coward. Come on, man. That's going over the top. Emalt says, DT, based purely on the first 8 performances, do you think we can get in the top 4?
Yeah, because everyone else is just as crap. Everyone else, no one's really, you know what I mean? It's such an up and down season already. We're only 6 points off top. So I think we were saying this as well yesterday, that what's going to set teams apart are the ones that go on a run now. When a team puts a good 6, 7, 8 games where they don't lose, and you know they maybe win 6 out of 8 and draw 2, and that's when you'll start to see. Because I don't think we're going to keep this over the course of the season of everybody beating each other and the league champions end up winning, you know, the title, losing 7 games or something along them lines or whatever. I feel that there's going to be a couple that break away and fight for the title, and then it's just going to be like a yo-yo for the other places. But we've also got the option of the Europa League, and so far we've actually been done all right in that, although the opposition hasn't been that great.
That's nothing until the big boys drop in from out of the Champions League. Vicky 189 says, DT and Robbie, what are your thoughts on signing Wilshere on a free? We can get him really cheap, and he's Arsenal in his DNA. Wilshere on a free?
I love Jack, but that boat sailed, man. That boat sailed. I love Jack, but
Charlie says Laka has lost some confidence last season and has never seemed to regain the same confidence in front of goal again.
He started this season brilliantly.
Timmy says we have 3 creative attacking players in Smith Rowe, Willett and Ozil that don't play football. The Ozil thing, I mean, I don't like to keep touching on it, but that's looking a bad decision. King Suck says the inexperience of Mikel is showing. He's not going all out to play the expansive football he wants to play. He needs to be more positive on previous manager signings, Pepe and Saliba. I think what you said, DT, earlier is a true thing to say, in that there's a process here. And if part of a process is it's never exactly what you want it to do, want it to be in the beginning. It takes time to get things together, to sort out. I mean, you can tell that he doesn't know his best formation yet. No. And he doesn't know his best team yet.
No.
you know, you can tell he's you know. But one thing I think what he could do to start, kind of winning around the fans is too hard to say because I still think he has got the fans on his side. But I just think we just need to play some better football. You know, that's what I think. We need to play some better football. We need to have a game where we go out there and absolutely batter a team.
Yeah, yeah. But, well, these next 2 weeks, like I said, are going to be very crucial because this is where it's going to change or it don't. And
Carlito says Arteta, Ozil, my fault. Saliba, that's my fault. Aston Villa, that's my fault. It's boring, just like our play. Oh, geez, man. Football's a funny thing, isn't it? Because he wasn't getting none of this stick last week.
No.
Tim says Arteta's style of play is boring. DT, is it boring?
Nobody thought it was boring when we were winning the FA Cup and beating Man City.
Your question, is it boring?
Right now it is. Right now it is because it's completely wrong.
How do we stop it from being boring? What would you do to fix it?
You need to make the changes that we've been speaking about. The formation, first of all, the first thing that I would do is that if you haven't really got the personnel for the 4-3-3 at the moment and you still want to change things, go with a formation that everybody knows. First and foremost, we go with a 4-2-3-1 formation. All right, you can sit a Thomas Partey with whoever. Doesn't matter, whoever goes next to him in the two. You then have Pepe on one side. You have Saka on the left side. You then put either a Danny Ceballos or a Joe Willock in the 10. Mesut Ozil, we can't play him because he's not registered. So that's why I'm not mentioning him in that respect. And then Aubameyang through the middle. Go back to basics, 4-2-3-1.
Okay, Owen says, you guys think there is a cultural problem. I think he's saying, do you guys think there's a cultural problem going on at the club? It seems to me like we really lack grit and fight, almost as if we're too not. We weren't last week, though. That's the annoying thing about it. Yeah. Is last week at Manchester United, we were aggressive. There was a spine to the team. We were tough. And then, you know, we then see that little joke of a performance yesterday. That's what annoyed me so much. Alexander said we could go back for Ramsey. He still probably has the element of creativity that we desperately need. I don't know if Ramsey's ever been a creative player. Kingsley says Lacazette's finishing is poor. Williams' finishing is poor. Aubameyang can't carry the burden alone. But by the way, Aubameyang ain't done nothing this season as well. Saliba has to play. Louise, please come back. Pritchard says, Robbie DT, is Arsenal a big club? Really need an answer. Why can't we get the players we need to progress? I think as well, listen, we can't get all the players at once. Especially it was in a pandemic. We made 2 excellent signings in Gabriel and in Partey. Those were 2 brilliant signings, but we need more. And you can't just go out in the summer transfer window unless you're a Chelsea and you've got unlimited funds and buy like 7 players. You can't do it. Original Awar says Willock must be fuming. 2 goals of recent and does what we cry for. He goes and runs into the box. I'm not on this El Neni hype, he says. Nelson over Willian, Eddie over Laka. Yeah, I'm not too sure about Eddie over Laka. No. What do you think?
Not for me. I've made my feelings on it. I think Eddie's had plenty of chances. I think he's been given so many minutes. He's started games. He's come on a sub. He's always been involved. And I'd rather us just give a go to Balogun. I've seen Balogun since the under-18s. I've watched him right through to the under-23s. His goal-scoring record is phenomenal. Yes, it's a different level in the Premier League, but these players have to start somewhere, and that's where they start. It's exactly where Saka started. And Saka was given an opportunity. Saka burst onto the scene out of nowhere, took his chance, and the rest is history, as they say. So I feel that with Balogun there sniffing around the first team squad now, and people starting to know who he is and starting to recognize the name, that I feel that he should be given a chance now. I think that in the Europa League, play Balogun. You know, give him a chance to say, all right, let's go and see what you do for 75, 80 minutes like we do with Eddie. Don't give him the last 15, 20. You know what Eddie can do. You know what he's been doing. So give Balogun the run. Why not put him on the bench in the Premier League and give him the final 15 instead of Eddie? Because every time Eddie comes on in the final 15, apart from the tap-in that he scored against West Ham, I can't remember him doing anything when he comes on. He just runs around a little bit and that's it. Do you know what I mean? I can run around a little bit.
Humanity Forever says, DT, you have to accept other opinions if people do not trust in the process. Personally, I don't believe in this process. When we have players that they don't deserve to wear the Arsenal kit.
There's certain players within the team, Robbie, that are still part of a weak, spineless regime from before Mikel Arteta. And I said it, and I was having a conversation with somebody yesterday, and there were just certain players in particular. And it's, you have a good game, and then the old weak side rears its head again. And I look at the way that Bellerin got bounced for that third goal. Like, I've never seen a player get bounced the way that he did. It was like, you know, Zorb football, when they go in them big, massive round bubbles. And you know, someone bounces into you and you just go, boing, you fly off. It was like Bellerin had got hit by a Zorb without a Zorb. It's the only way I can describe it.
Jokes, man.
You know what I mean? It was like Grealish just literally just went, get out of the way.
Oh, this guy says we need to bring Ramsey back. Imagine Partey, Ceballos, Ramsey in the middle, Saka, Pepe on the side, Aubameyang up front, and Laka on the bench. Shirin Sherpa says, shout out to Don Robbie and my man DT, such a nice guy and honest. Who's he talking, me or you? It can't be you, I know that anyway.
Don't hate, man. Don't hate. Don't hate. I know you're hating.
You ain't met DT, obviously. Right.
Hey, listen, you behave yourself, man.
Shavran says, are we really honest about our criticism of Arteta? I feel that we want him to succeed and hence are more kind in our assessment of him. Our thoughts, well, listen, the thing is about this, you can't go from, I criticised Arteta heavily last week, but yesterday, but I'm not in this Arteta out and rubbish like that. He had a bad game. What I want to see him do is learn from it. Yesterday, he said he blames himself for yesterday. And I'm going to be honest, I think he takes a lot of blame. He does have to take a lot of blame for yesterday because it was a very, very, very poor performance. But the week before, he put in a brilliant managerial performance at Manchester United, a place, remember, people are talking about Emery here and what about this manager? He's no better. Emery never went away to any of those big clubs and got a win. Arteta's done that. Emery didn't win a trophy. Arteta's done that, right? I think people forget these things. I mean, are you forgetting that? You know what I mean? So some of these things where people are getting up records and comparing them and stuff like that, those things are too easy to do. It's easy sometimes just to, you've got to look at the overall picture. He's building something, you can see. Yesterday was a bad day at the office, but he's building something, right? And that's why I asked the question, do you trust in the process? I'm trusting in it. But that doesn't mean that I can't say I was very unhappy about yesterday. I'm unhappy about how a lot of games we start so slowly. Last week against Manchester United, we were on the front foot right from the beginning, in their faces. Yep. Yesterday, after 40 odd seconds, they scored and we still didn't learn. Those are the things that he needs to fix. I agree with this DT where he said we need, good job we got a couple of weeks off. I think it would have been good for us to have a game this week.
You think?
got into the players this week and said, get out of there on Saturday and do better. I'm a bit gutted that we've got this break. I would rather of them have to go back out there quickly and put it right. Vicky says, Robbie, we should limit bigging the United result. It's testament to how pathetic, inconsistent United are. My question is, why does Pepe not get a run? Pepe should be getting a run. This is another thing that Arteta, and again, sometimes it's not overnight, but he's got to find a way to get Pepe into the team. Pepe now has to start. We see, I agreed last week with Willian starting. I thought away from home, he provided that balance. But yesterday, nah, Pepe should have been starting. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Robbie, can I just say something?
He's got it wrong.
Can I just say something? Because I was just having a little look, right? You see, Liverpool, when Jurgen Klopp took over, that first season that Jurgen Klopp took over, right? We all know about the whole, things that happened with West Brom, and they drew at home and they're holding hands in the air and everything else. But do you know that a couple of months into his reign as Liverpool manager, they lost 3-0 at Watford? That was part of his first season. All right. Now, do you not think that Liverpool fans were absolutely raging when they lost 3-0 at Watford? And they were thinking, nah, this guy, what's going on there? That was already his third defeat of the season. All right. And that was in December, and he'd only been there a couple of months and he'd lost 3 games already. They went into January and they lost 2-0 to West Ham. So within 3 months of Jurgen Klopp being at Liverpool, they'd already lost 4 games. They then played Exeter City in the FA Cup and they drew 2-2. So anybody that thinks it was all roses and beautiful, amazing stuff from the very beginning at Liverpool under Jurgen Klopp, it was not. It takes time. And yes, Jurgen Klopp has the experience of what he had when he was at Dortmund. But what I'm trying to get at is that it was not all plain sailing. He had to implement his ideas piece by piece, bit by bit. And there was a lot of bumpy moments for Liverpool. Losing 3-0 at Watford, losing 2-0 at West Ham, drawing 2-2 with Exeter City. I bet most of the people watching this don't even know who Exeter City are.
Matt Dennis said, would you sack Arteta by Christmas if the results and performances didn't improve? DT?
No, because the results will improve. I'm absolutely fine on that.
Tugan says, Arteta is the new Benitez. He is nothing more than a defensive coach. His main tactic is to stop the opposition, not attack, which is why he performs against the big teams. Start Nelson, Aubameyang, and Pepe. Warren simply says a 4-4-2. Dungeon Master says any solution for right back. Bellerin, Cedric, Maitland-Niles are not good enough. We're not going to buy a right back in January window. Opinion. But listen, we've got, like you just said there, we've got 3 right backs. I don't, you know what? There's been some signings and some things done as well that have been crazy. I mean, the Willian thing, a lot of us didn't understand. The Cedric thing, I'm still baffled by. That seems the strangest signing. I just, I know it was a free, but it just don't make sense. Satan says Willian is awful. Arteta seems to. He definitely has a clause in his contract where he has to play most of the games. Why would he have joined if he knew he weren't going to get game time?
Can I also, Robbie, can I also say something before you actually do that? I was just talking about Jurgen Klopp as well. You see, in that first season, they also lost 2 finals. They lost the Carabao Cup final and they lost the Europa League final. Who did they lose the Europa League final to? What manager?
Emery.
Unai Emery.
Yeah. Simbo says, I'm a Liverpool fan, but did you see the team we had under Klopp? It was way worse than the team you guys have. So I think he's trying to back up what you were saying. San Arsenal says, remember when we said pay Aubameyang what he wants? Now he has it. What has he done? It was still a good thing to get Aubameyang, but we've got to get him in the right positions. You know, Dirk says we don't get what we want without selling assets. Why not a real rebuild with youngsters? Sell Lacazette, Bellerin, and even Aubameyang. Step back to step forward. Listen, I'm sorry, I wouldn't sell Aubameyang. I wouldn't sell Aubameyang. You know, a couple of the others there, they've had long enough at the club to, you know. Moji got one for you, DT. He says at least Klopp was trying to play positive football. You know. AJ says, Robbie, I think we would have been better off with Wilfried Zaha instead of Pepe. Also, we need to let go of Lacazette. He's not a reliable striker for us. Lacazette getting a lot of stick. Let me see. There's so many comments coming in. Thank you very much for all these, by the way. DT, Alex says, do you honestly think Wenger would have done better with his squad right now? Not speaking long term, would he have done better?
No.
Why?
Look at the players he had, and he was crap then. Look, Arsene Wenger still had Santi Cazorla, Mesut Ozil, Alexis Sanchez, brought Petr Cech in. What did we do? We were still crap in the Premier League. We still couldn't qualify for the Champions League. We were still getting slapped away from home and embarrassed.
Tony says, would you rather be an attacking team that has the potential to leak goals or play like how we are now and really concede but only have 9 league goals? Well, Tony, you see the point you're making there. You need a balance. And that's a problem at the moment. We don't have a balance. KJ says, I would sack Arteta. People were laughing at Jose, saying he's washed up. I hate to say it, but Spurs are serious league contenders. There is no process. That's BS. Mikel Pulis out now. Oof. Mikel Pulis is calling him. And this guy, backing up what you saying, DT, said, Liebech 876 says, as a Liverpool fan, Gunners need to trust the process. Aiden says, Laka getting stick is a joke. The man scored more goals in big games than Aubameyang. So stop that. He has this season, hasn't he?
Yeah. The problem is he's also missed in a lot of big games.
Yeah, he's missed big chances. You'll get everyone talking.
All these people, man. Listen, all these people that are so impatient. I would love to know how they go through their everyday life. You know, they're in the shop. There's a queue. Oh, that's it. Tesco out. I've had enough. Look at the queues.
Tesco out.
Trust the process. No, what kind of process? I'm going Asda. Do you know what I mean? That's some patience, man.
Says someone who's been very patient over the years. When did you get patience all of a sudden?
I was very patient with Arsene Wenger. I put up with him for over 15 years. Do you know what I mean? So people can't say that all of a sudden I just turned on Arsene Wenger. He was our manager over 15 years before I decided I wanted him out.
Careful what you wish for. Remember what someone said to you yesterday?
Said, mate, don't. Oh.
Man like says, Arteta is out of his depth. He needs to go if he doesn't win the league this. If he doesn't win the league this season, come on, man. That's. Where is there is? I agree. Come on, you've got to be more patient than that. It's not about. Listen, despite yesterday's result, it's not about now. Somebody made the point yesterday, right? And they said, remember, last season, Southampton, they got beaten 9-0 at home in front of fans, their own fans. 9-0. Yeah. And at the start of this weekend, when they won that game, they were top of the league.
Yeah.
And they didn't sack Hasenhüttl or whatever you pronounce it. I can never pronounce that name. But they didn't sack Ralph. They kept holding him.
You can't pronounce Ainsley Maitland-Niles, so you got no chance with that.
They didn't sack him, did they? They stuck by him. They said to themselves, no, you know what? This guy's a good manager. He probably needs more tools, but he's a good manager.
Yeah.
He's trying to implement his style of play. They stuck by him. And look, as I said, at the week, they stayed up, number one, because a lot of people were saying at that time they're going to go down. Stayed up with ease, right? And at the weekend, they were top of the league at the start of the weekend. So patience, man. You've got to have more patience than what some people, you know. Pablo says, told you about Agent Willian months ago. Hope you enjoy. You know, but there has to be more patience. And as I said, that what we spoke about earlier on in the show about Conte, Antonio Conte, you know, got that spanking at Arsenal, went on to win the league, you know. Dano says, Robbie, thank you very much for having a great live show. I always criticize when you give us lame shows. So I must say this one's good. Much love to DT. Oh. He says, hasn't Watkins scored more goals at the Emirates than Aubameyang, Lacazette and Pepe added together?
Go away, Steve.
No, he hasn't actually, unless you're talking about the Premier League. Oh, man. It's such a contrast. You know what? If we'd have done a live show after that game last week at Man United, it would have been a complete opposite, wouldn't it?
Exactly. All the ones that are here tonight would have been back under their rocks. So,
or they would have been saying the trust in the process.
Yeah. Oh, we trust the process. Mikel's the man. Mikel's the man. Yeah. They're all styling his hair like him. Just behave yourself, man.
DM says, people seem to forget that we were playing good football under Arteta before the lockdown in a 4-2-3-1. Like DT said, go back to basics. Justinio says, yo, DT, where will Arsenal be in the next 5 years? That's a good question.
Boy, probably playing in America. Would have been relocated. Do you know what I mean?
Brandon says, sick of hearing fans drag Aubameyang's name through the mud. This guy's carried us all season. Last season, he must be frustrated when he looks around and sees the same dead players in the starting 11. If I was Aubameyang, I'd be going, you know, and not to say that he's not culpable, because he's been poor this season, but I'd be going to Mikel Arteta's office. I'd be knocking the door and saying, yeah, Mikel, you got to play me down the middle now, man. I need to get the ball. I need to see the ball. You know, I think he needs to demand that now. He needs to demand that. Tyler says, a Liverpool fan, trust the process. It took 4 to 5 managers before we came good. But when you find a balance, you'll be a very dangerous team. There's good players in that team. It's true, isn't it, about finding a balance, isn't it?
Yeah, it's getting the right balance, and that's it. You either, you know, 1% either way, man, it goes tits up. You either don't score enough goals or you concede too many. So you've got to find the middle ground.
Sonny says, yo, Robbie and DT, what formation would you play if we don't make the top 4? Should we get rid of Arteta?
We still got. It's going to be very interesting to see where we finish this season. If it's outside of the top 4, if it's down near 8th or 9th again, then that's a serious shambles.
I think if we finish 8th and 9th again, his job would be in serious problem. Come on, you know this is Arsenal Football Club. We can't be finishing 8th, and we'd have to seriously, much as we trust the process, but that would be a serious step back.
Yeah.
It's hard to say because it's a tough question to answer, but you've got to be looking at top 4 and a trophy, innit? Or one of the two.
Yeah.
Lil says, embarrassing. Bellerin looked like that schoolboy who always gets picked on with Grealish as his bully. We were talking about Bellerin earlier on in the office there, and I was saying that whilst I think Bellerin is a good player, and he's just, you know, And let's be real, he was been playing well before yesterday's game. He hasn't actually been having a good season so far.
Still can't cross.
But I still look on it and say, is he one of the top 3 or 4 right backs, or even 5 right backs in the Premier League? I don't think so. He's been here a while, and I still look at it and I say, is he better than, I don't know, Walker? No.
And Man City don't even like Kyle Walker. He's playing poor.
Walker wouldn't have got bounced off that ball like that yesterday. Is he better than Wan-Bissaka? No. Is he better than Pereira at Leicester? No.
He ain't even better than James Justin at Leicester.
James Justin has been doing a great job at Leicester. Is he better than, who else can I think of? He's not a Trent Alexander-Arnold. He's not a million miles away from players like that.
He's not even better than Max Aarons.
That's 5 I've named out already in the Premier League.
Listen, you can go into the Championship and you can go Max Aarons.
You know what I think it is with Bellerin? Is like his whole image is bigger than him as a player. And maybe that's why he gets a lot of stick, because he has a big image in the game. He's a very well-known player who does a lot of things beyond, say, football. But I always look on it and say, you know, I mean, all of that is fine, but you've got to produce. I mean, as I always say, you know, guys like Messi, they can do whatever they want with their hair. They can wear whatever fashion they want to wear. Nobody cares because they're that good. Right? Lewis Hamilton can talk about the environment and wear whatever he wants and that because he wins every week. Nobody cares. But if you're not winning and you're getting bounced off the balls like yesterday, people then start to talk about it. That's what the problem, not because they want to disrespect you. People start picking at things. Mark T says, what happened to Saliba? Why isn't he playing? What is up with the management? The Saliba thing's a big mystery to me because, again, I look at Leicester. They've got the guy who played with him at Saint Etienne, possibly looking at him and Gabriel at the moment, 2 of the best young centre-backs in the Premier League. And I just go, get the Saliba thing. Monsoor says, if Arsenal are 14th by the end of December, hypothetically, will there still be patience or panic? Will there definitely be panic? But it's such a crazy season at the moment. Such a crazy season. I'm going to do a couple more because we've been going for over an hour now. I mean, thank you very much. The conversation has been absolutely brilliant. The amount of comments we got has been fantastic. Dano says, who's better, Laka or Jesus? I'd say it is Jesus at the moment. He's better than Lacazette. You've got to say that. Laka's been very disappointing. Not looked clinical enough, has he? That's been the problem this season.
Massively.
And let me get a couple more. This guy says Giroud's better than Lacazette. We need to rebuild Highbury and return home. The winning mentality at the club died when we moved to the Emirates. The library. That's the last one for the day. DT, thanks very much for coming on. Thank you to everybody who tuned into the show today. Don't forget, we're going to be back in the morning with another AFTV News Daily. We're in lockdown here in the UK. So, you know, what have you been doing in lockdown? What did you do today, DT?
Mate, listen, I'm being given chores around the house, man. Mate, like, you know the stuff in your house that you've always been going, yeah, you know what, I need to do that. But you just have never had the time. Now, it's like, yeah, you see what you said about doing that? It's, oh, man.
What people don't realise, DT's a real sort of family guy, real softy at home. You see, like the videos yesterday and that, you see him ranting. Yes, he comes out, when he gets out of the house, when he lets it off, it's all the frustration of all that DIY he's having to do.
Exactly, that's what it is. It's like, and you know the maddest thing? You know what really annoyed me today, yeah? It's like, I was using the jigsaw, you know, to cut.
Yeah.
And my blade snapped, right? And I didn't have any more blades. And I'm telling you, if you could have heard the profanities towards my blade, man, and my jigsaw, I was fuming. But it's like, it was just one of them, man. I'm just, and you know what? I'm the worst prepared DIY man ever, because I was like, I got up. I remember we took my little one to school, but I was dressed like in normal. So I had like off-white top on or something and tracksuit bottoms, or just casual, but stuff that you wouldn't do DIY in. So when I come back home and then I decide I'm going to do the DIY, and I don't go, you know what, let me get changed into some old clothes. I just go, yeah, go on, let's do it. So I get the jigsaw out, and there's dust and everything everywhere, and it's all over. And then I'm looking at myself like, oh man, what have I done? Yeah, one of them, man.
This is how much money this guy's making, doing decorating in his off-whites. Right, big up yourself, DT.
Mate, listen.
Yeah, I'm gonna get you back. You want to come back on later on in the week? Let's maybe.
Yeah, definitely, man.
Right,
Give my agent a shout and discuss a call.
What's your agent? Yeah, I heard. I heard that you got the same agent as Ozil.
Yeah. That's why, if I had the same agent as Ozil, that's why I could do decorated in off-whites.
DT, thanks a lot. And thanks everybody. Thanks everybody for watching the show. Don't forget, we'll be back in the morning, 10 o'clock tomorrow morning with another live show. We're doing it right through lockdown. So make sure you get yourself involved. Get your comments in. We want to hear from you guys. Thank you very much. And we will see you in the morning. And you know what? Have a good night's sleep, man. Let's try and see if we can get over this thing.